Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Given to temptation, pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. I was talking to one of my viewers today, and he asked me, why is it that in most of these superhero movies, sci-fi movies, and fantasy movies and TV shows that we always see a black or a non-black woman always in an interracial relationship with white men, but we never get to see any black man out here with a white or a non-black woman. And I had to let him know that most of the media that is presented on these platforms are owned by white men, and those white men are going to go out of their way to elevate their image to be the ideal as related to relationships. So that's the main reason why we only see most of these fantasy, superhero, and sci-fi characters always pursuing a white man, because these white men are the ones who own this media. These white men are the ones who control this media, and as I've stated in numerous videos, those who control the money control the media, and those who control the media control the narrative. And the narrative that many in the comic book, superhero, sci-fi, and fantasy world want to push is the idea that the white male is supreme. So they are going to go out here, because they are the ones financing this media. They're going to elevate their image above all other images, and they are going to do this because they are making media for themselves, and they are making media for their core audience, which is white males. Now, the main reason why we don't see your black males in these kinds of stories is because most of these white men, they want to go out here and again elevate their image above all others, and they want themselves to be seen as the one who is considered to be the hero of the story. They want themselves to be seen as the ideal man to be with in the story, and they want themselves to be presented as the ones every woman out here is attracted to, regardless of race. So that white man is writing the story, that white man is producing the story, that white man is financing that story. So he's going to put his image as the one that's going to be the hero, and he's going to push the whole idea that he is the most attractive person in the room. Now, the reason why they oftentimes, again, do these interracial relationships these days is because that's part of white supremacist social engineering. Now, what they're trying to socially engineer in the minds of black women with these interracial relationships is they're trying to socially engineer the idea that the white man is the ideal, the white man is the one they should pursue, and by putting this white man with this black woman, they are going out here and giving the one black woman the idea that she can have access to the white man in the relationship, because in the past it was only the white woman who could go out here and have access to the hero in the story as related to a relationship. But a lot of creators today, they want to go out here and again passively include the black woman, but aggressively take a jab at the black man by saying that he is not strong enough to be a hero, he is not strong enough to be a leader, and he is not attractive enough to be desirable, because they are pushing him to the far part of the background while pushing the black woman further up in the foreground. So that's another reason why you oftentimes see these interracial relationships, because they want to go out here and go after the black woman, because the black woman is the first teacher of culture, and as the first teacher, if she sees this white man paying her attention, then that's going to be able to have, for her to be able to teach her children to seek white acceptance above black empowerment. And that's what the main reason why they go out here and participate in these forms of media where they give you these interracial images, because they want to indoctrinate young black children into the whole idea of seeking out white acceptance and white validation instead of seeking out black empowerment and black elevation. Now, the main reason why we don't see black men in these interracial relationships, again, is because the white man wants to be the hero of his own stories. And that's why we see characters like your Finn passively included, but aggressively presented as bumbling, stumbling idiots, because they don't want you to see the black man in a leadership role. They don't want you to see the black man having power, and they don't want people going out here and following behind a black man as a hero. So what they will do in franchises like Star Wars and even many others like these DC superhero TV shows by Greg Berlanti is they will find a way to devalue the black man on the show in order to elevate the white man on the show. And this was done on the show Supergirl a couple of years ago when they passively included a black James Olsen, who was originally a redheaded white male character, and then turned him into a black man and wanted him to be the love interest of Kara Danvers, also known as Supergirl. However, your white male comic fans, they were not really happy about this, and they were very vocal. And because your CW did not want to alienate that large audience of white male comic fans, what they did was go out here and turn James Olsen from the leading man that Mehcad Brooks was supposed to play into the guardian of the friend zone. And after your James Olsen was friend zoned, he then was further emasculated on the show. And the reason why they did this was because they did not want the black man out here to be that ideal alpha male. No, many of the white beta male comic fans, they were upset about the idea of this black man going out here and being with the woman who was considered their fantasy. And that's one of the things that upset a lot of those white male comic fans. They didn't like the idea of a black man being in their fantasy, because for a lot of these white males, these comic book and superhero movies and TV shows are their escape, and they don't want to see a black man being with the girl of their dreams. And because they don't want to see a black man being with the girl of their dreams, this is why many of these men won't go out here and support many of these shows like your Supergirls, and many of them really got upset when Finn was featured as possibly being the main character in the new Star Wars sequel trilogy. When Finn was presented as looking like the lead character in the Star Wars sequel trilogy in early teasers, that's when many white males practically lost it. And I heard that the original plan was to make Finn possibly the lead character, but many people in the whole Star Wars production, they decided not to do this, and they decided to emasculate him instead. But we could see the hints of it, them looking to make Finn and Rey the couple, but because many of these white males who control your media and many of the comic fans and sci-fi fans were upset, they only want to see the white male in that lead role, and they only want to see that white male be with the white female as related to their fantasy. Now, this racism also permeates into black productions, and we see it happen in films like your Black Panther, where the black male character T'Challa, who was a dominant alpha male in the comics, was practically marginalized in his own film. And you had many black comic fans sitting there thinking, oh, the film is about Wakanda, but no, the film was supposed to be about Black Panther and why he was a strong leader. But instead of giving us that film that showed us T'Challa being that strong leader, we got T'Challa marginalized in his own film. Meanwhile, the Killmonger character, who was basically a repackaging of the Black Brute, was presented to the forefront. And again, this is all about marginalizing and minimizing the black male image and presenting us
an image that fits more of the white racist narrative, because the white racist only wants to see certain images of black manhood, and they only want to see certain images of black masculinity. And they want, again, because they have the money to finance this media, they can push these anti-black man narratives in their media. They don't want you to see a black man in that leadership role. They don't want you to see that black man having that kind of power, and they will go out of their way to marginalize that black man, because in their fantasy world, this is the place where many white males have the power, and again, they have the money to make the kind of media they want. So that's why we don't get to see your black man in an interracial relationship, because the white men who finance these productions, they want those roles for themselves. They want to see themselves get the girl. They want to see themselves beat the bad guys, and they're not going to finance some black man going out here and living the life that they want to live, not with their dime. No, if you want to see a black man out here being a hero, now you have to go out here and spend your own money, like I did when I started the SJS Direct imprint and started publishing books like The Temptation of John Haynes and books like the John Haynes series. I understood way back when I was about 17 years old that the only way we're going to get to see a black man in a leadership role is to finance that ourselves. That is something I learned later on from guys like Melvin Van Peebles, who created the movie Sweet Sweetbacks, because he was tired of seeing black men presented as clowns in movies. So he financed his own movie, and with the help of Bill Cosby, went out here and made this film, which opened up the blaxploitation era. And it's always been self-financed projects like those from guys like Melvin Van Peebles or people like myself that give us those strong, positive images of black manhood and those strong images of black masculinity. It has always been black men who go out here and finance their own material. That is the only way we have ever received images of strong black manhood and black masculinity. And usually when a black creator like myself goes out here and creates a character like a John Haynes, we're not really thinking about interracial relationships, because the message we're trying to send in our media is about black love, because black love is something that we want to promote in our media. Because if we're going to have a story featuring a strong black male hero, then we're going to want to have a strong black female heroine to be his helpmeet and support. And we're going to want to see that black man embracing that sister in our story, because when we look at the world that has all of these white supremacist images, we understand that the media that features black men with white women, usually that media, again, is all about social engineering, and it's about socially engineering a narrative that is anti-black man, because that white woman, she is not going to teach a culture of black empowerment to the black children. No, she's going to teach black self-hatred, because many of the white females out here, they benefit from the system of white supremacy. So when you have a piece of media that's created by a black man, in many cases, he is going to elevate his own image, because he wants to go out here and tell a story that shows the best about himself, because he knows he cannot get that from mainstream media platforms that produce things like superhero movies or your fantasy movies, because those pieces of media, even though they feature black actors like your Chadwick Boseman and actors like your Anthony Mackie, the only role you're going to play in their movies is in the background. And if you want to be in the foreground of a story, you have to go out here and create it yourself. And that's something I learned, again, back when I was 17 years old, and I still hold on to it at 47. And as I start to expand from publishing books like The Temptation of John Haynes and the John Haynes series into trying to get this John Haynes at Death's Door comic to the marketplace. I understand that if I want to go out here and see images of black people that are positive, that show us balanced, humanized stories, and really show us who we really are to the world, we have to go out here and produce those stories ourselves. We have to go out here, save our money to bring these stories to the world, and we have to go out here and make every effort to share those stories to the world, because when you get on a mainstream media platform, they're not interested in elevating the black image. And when they go out here and talk about so-called diversity, they're always going to put the white person as the dominant, just like I recently saw in an image as related to the Proud Families reboot, and as related to the alphabet couple, the white male will always be presented as the dominant male because the white male is the one financing that media. But if black people want to see strong images of black men, then we're going to have to go out here again and put our money behind it, and we're going to have to go out here and support black creators like myself and many others who are out here presenting those images of black manhood and black masculinity and showing you black love. Because if it doesn't come from a black creator, then it probably won't be of any sort of quality, because again, only way you're going to get black media that shows you a balanced image of black people is usually from a black creator, because that black creator, like myself, wants to go out here and give you that richer picture of the black experience, and they want to do that because he wants to open the minds of brothers and sisters so that they won't get caught up in this white supremacist media, which promotes so-called interracial images, but all of those interracial images are all about perpetuating the same white supremacy and the whole idea of the white man being the ultimate one in power. But when we go out here and create our own media, that usually shows the black man in power. And again, the only way you get that media is through black independent creators like myself, and that's why it's important to support independent black male fantasy and science fiction creators, because we're the ones trying to inspire young brothers, uplift young brothers and sisters, and empower young brothers and sisters by showing you stories that show you a world where black people have power, and a world where black people are the ones leading and controlling everything in the story. Because in stories like John Haynes is the CEO of Morris Phillips, and Eaststeam is his partner, and they're both working together in this story to take on Lucifer's Legion. You're not going to get that in a series like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer or an Angel, with a black character like Kendra winds up dead, or on Angel, the black guy is in the background and never really getting any sort of stories. And the only way you're going to get stories is, again, through a black creator, and that's something everybody in the comic book world, the sci-fi world, and the fantasy world needs to understand. And that's why it's important to support people out here like Concrete Comics, because those type of companies, they elevate the black image and they empower our brothers and sisters by showing us in our own stories and telling our stories where we're seeing us in the front, and we're telling our stories from our experience and our perspective. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to pick up positive black fantasy stories from a black perspective featuring the black experience, like the ISIS series, the Eaststeam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Smith-Torella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Eaststeam: The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of Eaststeam: The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today.